Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another daily talk of stock. And I thank you all for being here. This is truly one of my favorite times of the day. I always love filming these and doing a daily talk of stock. So once again, thank you for being here today. It is Wednesday, June 11th, and we could see when we look on the heat map, we had an overall red day. So the markets did finish bearish today, but it didn't start out that way, as early in the morning we did have this news with President Trump. So we do know that this last week there has been a meeting out in London between the United States and Chinese officials, and Trump wrote that the deal with China is done, subject to final approval with President Xi and me. Full magnets and any necessary rare earths will be supplied up front by China. Likewise, we will provide to China what was agreed to, including Chinese students using our colleges and universities, which has always been good with me. We are getting a total of 55% tariffs. China is getting 10%. Relationship is excellent. Thank you for your attention to this matter in all caps lock. So the president going all caps lock with this very important news. And not only did we have that, we also did have the numbers around inflation reported today, and they were a bit better than expected. So the numbers getting closer to that 2% goal. And Trump wrote that CPI just out. Great numbers. Fed should lower 1 full point, would pay much less interest on debt coming due. So important. So as we know, the president has been trying to pressure Jerome Powell and the Federal Reserve to cut rates, but the Federal Reserve is maintaining their path of what their goals are and remaining independent from the president's demands. And so Jerome Powell has said that he is not going to be pressured, and the betting markets are thinking that there is going to be no change next week when the Fed does talk about the rate cut. So a 97% chance of having no change. And so very frustrating to those who do want a rate cut. Many want the rate cut because with the rates being cut, it could add a little bit more stimulation into the economy and into the markets, as it will help alleviate pressures when it comes to borrowing. And so with that being said, I do believe that there will be a rate cut coming up, not next week, but possibly next month or sometime down the line very soon. And with that being said, when the rate cut does come, the markets could be very stimulative and have a big pop. And if that were to happen, I believe that the plays that we're going to talk about today would benefit greatly from that rate cut. And in general, I am just very bullish on these plays, even if there isn't a rate cut in the near term. So today, we're going to be talking all about quantum computing. We're going to talk about two different quantum computing stocks. The first one being quantum computing, ticker symbol QUBT. The second, QBTS. The third, we're going to hop into that big guy back there, Big Bear. We're going to go to BigBearAi and finish off with the president's stock, DJT. So we're going to start out with the one that had the biggest pop today, QUBT, quantum computing, and what a massive pop it was. So up 25% today, up $3.79. And at one point, this stock did tap up into $20 today. So it did reach up to 20. It was up around 30%, but then it did have a little bit of a sell-off with the rest of the market. But overall, still a massive day, up 25%. And even if this is the first time you are hearing about QUBT, you still have opportunity to join into this stock before it reaches back up to its 52-week high. So in January, the 52-week high in this stock was set at $25. We're getting close there. Still some potential. You can see here with the indicator here, we have about 27% upside just to that 52-week high, and a lot of intrinsic value growing behind QUBT. We know that later in the month that they are going to be joining into the Russell 2000 and 3000 indexes. So being put into some major indexes, and this is going to happen at the end of the month on June 30th. So QUBT, we're very bullish on it. As we've been talking about, their last quarterly earnings was very positive. And then again, they will be joining into this index. And so there wasn't any particular news around QUBT today that did send the stock up, but the overall hype and momentum around the quantum computing sector. And so with that being said, we're going to hop into the next quantum computing stock. This is my favorite quantum computing stock, and this is D-Wave Quantum. So we actually had a bit of bleeding in D-Wave today, down 1%, down 27 cents, and currently sitting at around $16. And so when we look at the trend throughout this year, we could see that previously we were in this channel with a rising level of support and resistance. And then in the recent term, we had all the big news, the great earnings report, and all the great catalysts from D-Wave Quantum that absolutely popped this stock up. And since we got to that point, we have been a little bit overvalued when we look at the other indicators of the relative strength index, and then also on the MACD as well. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we got a little bit more bleeding in D-Wave, but overall, we are seeing a lot of strength in this stock. And what is really positive is we were valued a bit higher on the relative strength index not long ago, and we have came back down a bit, but still seeing a lot of strength with the price within D-Wave Quantum. So I could see us tapping back to this higher level of resistance around $15, but I don't really see us trending much below this level of what was previously resistance and now support. I do believe in the strength behind D-Wave, and I do believe that even if there is sell-off, that it will continue alongside this trend here. So I do believe that D-Wave will continue there. And overall, what's incredible is just looking at the quantum sector this year, some of my greatest gains have been with quantum. And so if you're not involved with quantum already, these are two really great quantum plays that have a lot of intrinsic value behind them. And if you're not already in quantum, I definitely suggest getting involved into quantum, whether it's one of these two quantum plays, both of them, or just a quantum index, because there is a lot going on in the quantum sector. And this sector in general has been moving with a lot of strength and volatility this last year. Just when we think about the history of tech, and when we think about the history of computers, these tech, AI, computing stocks sometimes go up the greatest in value. We could look at plays dating back in the 90s, such as Microsoft. And so quantum computing, a disruptive sector, and has a lot of intrinsic value behind it because quantum computers are so strong. And this is one of those sectors where if we do get a rate cut, it should have a big pop as well. If we do get a rate cut in the markets, this could really influence a lot of tech stocks, a lot of computing stocks, and then also cryptocurrency as well. And so just be prepared for some time in the future, because right now, while the markets are a bit slower than they were last month, still moving up, but while they are a bit slower, this may be a good opportunity to join into the markets before there is even more of a frenzy of buyers. And with that being said, we're going to hop into our next play, BigBearAi, that right now this stock has been in a bit of a consolidation period. So we could see since around May 27th that this stock has been consolidating in this sideways pattern. And so let's zoom in a little bit here, take a closer look. So we have been stuck in this sideways trading channel with the Big Bear in the most recent days, but this is right after we did have that upwards bullish trend. So it has broken out of that upwards bullish trend and has started to trade sideways. But I don't necessarily consider this a negative, because with consolidation, actually healthy, as the stock isn't getting too ahead of itself, not getting too overvalued too quick, and giving a chance for more investors to hop in. So right now, while Big Bear is consolidating, I consider this spot at $3.75 still to be a great buying opportunity. There is the chance that we do see a bit more bleeding. Possibly Big Bear goes back down to $3.50 or $3.25. But personally, this spot at $3.78, I consider to be a great buying opportunity. Again, we are consolidating to the side, but just like Castellum, another AI defense stock, we were just talking about them yesterday, they had a big jump up out of this sideways channel that they were in, and it came off a big piece of news, a big catalyst that they are paying off some debt. So right now, Big Bear is trading sideways, but if any really big news comes out, this stock can definitely have a big pop towards the upside. And then when we look at the other indicators of the relative strength index and the MACD, it is showing that we are about 50-50 on both of those indicators as well. The blue and the orange line on the MACD are right aligned with each other, so it's going to be interesting to see what happens next. We know when the blue line is above the orange, that signals strength and positive price movements coming up, while the orange over the blue shows that there could be negative movements ahead. And so both those lines intersecting with each other, the relative strength index right at about 50, and then again we are consolidating in the Big Bear. So a very interesting spot to be at, especially when we look at the short interest as well. So coming out of this sideways channel with Big Bear, there could either be a big drop off or a big skyrocket up, and I foresee a big skyrocket up because I think with Big Bear we are really just on the edge of some really big news. But I am a bull on the Big Bear. Some wouldn't believe that. And because of that, Big Bear has gotten a very high short interest. So we could see that a 23% of the float is being shorted. This is a massive short interest. And when we look at the volume of traders also here hopping into the Big Bear, we could see that more volume and more trading is happening within the Big Bear. And Big Bear still has a significantly small market cap at just $1.1 billion. And so if Big Bear comes out with any big news, we could see a big skyrocket in this stock. Anytime you have a short interest, that is in the double digits. And when it's as high as 23%, if the stock does start having positive price movements and starts going up in a significant shot up, the shorts will have to start covering, which could bring even greater price movements in the Big Bear. And so with that being said, Big Bear did actually come out with some big positive news today. There wasn't any numbers involved with this, but they did announce a partnership in the UAE. And so just as this reads right here, the CEO, Kevin, he said that this partnership is both a privilege and a milestone for BigBearAi. It is a powerful endorsement of our technology and values. This project also marks a major first step in our international expansion together. And so this is massive. Big Bear continuing their expansion. Big Bear, some like to joke, is like Big Brother because it is all around us. If you go to any of the airports here in America, you will see Big Bear there. Big Bear is working a lot with the United States government, and then also Big Bear doing a lot outside of the United States as well. As we could see, they just had this big partnership here, and we've also heard of Big Bear doing things around the Panama Canal as well. So a lot there with the Big Bear. I am staying very bullish on the Big Bear, and I am not worried about this sideways consolidation. I could remain patient in BigBearAi because I have a lot of belief in Big Bear and what Big Bear is doing. So it's going to be exciting to see what we see in the next earnings report with Big Bear that will come in a couple months. But leading up to that, I am going to stay patient, and if I'm going to do any trading in Big Bear, it's only going to be adding to my position, just like this play right here. And so the president's stock, Mr. Trump stock, Mr. President stock, DJT, with DJT, as I have been saying, some may think I sound like a broken record because they've heard me say this for so long, but we have been in a sideways trading channel a lot of the time with DJT. We have been in this sideways trading for a while, and we just fell under this level right here. So the two lines I have drawn out are the major level of support that is in the long term within this stock. So we could see over the course of the history with this stock, it has flown high up to the $60 range, $40 range, but for the most part, anytime it does drop, it does return back to these levels right here. And then when we look at the other indicators of the relative strength index and the MACD, they are lining up to show that right now DJT is in a bit of an oversold territory. And so myself, I am very bullish on DJT. And just like I'm talking about adding to Big Bear, this is a great spot to add into DJT. And you don't even have to take my word for it, because the second largest US pension fund recently bought up a lot of D-Wave Quantum and DJT. So they are also very bullish on D-Wave Quantum, this big pension fund, but they did buy a lot of DJT. And this is significant because the stock DJT has this big pension fund buying it. There are a lot of institutions that have bought into DJT. And also there is a lot of influential politicians that are in DJT as well. So we do know politicians such as Kash Patel and Linda McMahon have a lot of DJT, as well as a big portion of DJT holding within the Trump family. And this is significant because just like we were talking about rate cuts, if there is a rate cut coming up, the assets that can move the strongest and move up the most violently, the quickest, would be stocks that are involved in tech, AI, quantum, and especially cryptocurrency. We know that cryptocurrency really thrives in an environment with lower rates. And so recently Trump media has talked about how they are looking to purchase $2.5 billion into Bitcoin and using this as a Bitcoin treasury within TMTG. And not only that, they have also talked about releasing Bitcoin ETFs, and the president in general is doing a lot when it comes to the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. And so what it appears to be that we have lining up, whether there is a rate cut coming up now or in the future, is the mass adoption into cryptocurrency from the president. And with that rate cut, it will only help to stimulate Bitcoin and all crypto assets. And with Trump media being so involved and invested into cryptocurrency, you better bet that a lot of these returns will show up within this company. So myself, I am very bullish on all these stocks right here, very bullish on QUBT. I'm very excited for them to join the Russell 2000 and 3000 indexes. Super bullish on D-Wave Quantum. I really believe in their technology, even if there is some short-term consolidation or sideways trading in D-Wave, or even a little bit of bleeding in D-Wave. I am very bullish on D-Wave Quantum over the long term, and with BigBearAi also very bullish. And I think we are just awaiting a big rip up, and it's going to come off some big news here in the near future. So while Big Bear is under $10, I consider this to be a blessing, and I consider for $3 to be quite the steal for Big Bear, especially when we look at their financials. They have continued to earn more revenue in the past quarters, and they have also paid down a lot of their debt in the last quarter. So they are having strength when it comes to their revenue and their balance sheet, strength when it comes to paying down debt. And then last but not least, DJT. Well, the president is pushing us more into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency, while the company is taking advantage of it. So very bullish on all four of these plays, but I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks. So please let me know in the comment sections down below if you're invested into quantum, AI, DJT, any of these plays, or if there's any other stocks that you want me to talk about. As always, I appreciate you guys so much for being here. Please leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Have a great day, and I will see you guys in the next daily talk of stock.